current presidential candidate, Mike Pence. Mr. Vice President, thank you for joining us. I want to start with our new reporting.
Thank you, John.
I want to start with our new reporting about Mark Meadows. As you know, Donald Trump has claimed that all those documents he took with him to Mar-a-Lago he had declassified. But we are learning that Meadows has told investigators that he knew of no such broad declassification order from Donald Trump. What about you? Had you heard anything to suggest that the president had issued an order, even a standing order, declassifying documents like that?
Well, first off, the handling of classified materials is enormously serious in the life of the nation. But I can't really comment on your reporting, but in my case, I was never made aware of any broad-based effort to declassify documents. There is a process that the White House goes through to declassify materials. I'm aware of that occurring on several occasions over the course of our 4 years, but I don't have any knowledge of any broad-based directive from the president. But that doesn't mean it didn't occur. It's not something that I ever heard about.
And knowing what you knew about how that White House operated, if there had been such a broad order, wouldn't his chief of staff have known about it?
I would expect so, but again, I sure hope we're not getting back into the lane of leaks from the Justice Department about these cases. The special counsel is currently working on investigating Joe Biden's pattern of retaining classified materials. We haven't heard a peep out of that, and I know there's discussion about them making arrangements for President Biden to be interviewed for that. But look, President Trump is entitled to a presumption of innocence. He's entitled to his day in court. And I'm just not going to comment on the latest leak or the latest reporting coming out of that process.
Okay, let me ask you, though, fully taking your point that everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty. I remember in 2002, you voted to expel James Traficant, not after he was accused, but after he was convicted of a felony on corruption charges. You and virtually every other member of the House voted to expel him, saying that it wasn't right to have a convicted felon as a member of Congress. Would you hold that same standard for the White House?
Well, I would tell you that it is the function of the Congress to determine membership where there's ethical violations. And I remember the Traficant case from about 20 years ago. It was really quite outrageous, John. But if you're saying would I apply that to my former running mate in this race, look, I think that needs to be left to the American people. Look, let's have the former president have his day in court. Let's maintain a presumption of innocence in this matter and in the other matter that unfolded this week here in Georgia. But I've said many times, John, I would have preferred that these matters be left to the judgment of the American people. I mean, no one's above the law, but with regard to the president's future, my hope is when we get to that debate stage, and I'm still kind of hoping maybe he'll come, is that we could really have a debate about the challenges facing the American people, the issues the American people are facing in the wake of the failed policies of the Biden administration.
How do you intend to break through on that debate stage? This will be your first big moment, whether or not he comes there with the other candidates. What's your strategy?
Well, I've had a little bit of experience with nationally televised debates, but it's different with a group on stage. And look, I'm just going to be me. I mean, I feel like I've been preparing for this first Republican presidential debate my whole life. And frankly, as Karen and I have traveled all across the country, that one of the things we've come to realize is that I'm well known, but I'm not known well. Most people know me as that loyal vice president who fought alongside President Trump until the day came that my oath to the Constitution required me to stand apart. But you know me, John, a long time. You knew me back when I was a House conservative leader fighting big spenders in my own party. You knew me when I was a conservative governor, showing you can balance budgets and cut taxes and expand educational choice and achieve record employment. You know, one of my goals in that debate is for the American people, Republican primary voters, to get to know me in a little bit broader context and demonstrate the kind of leadership that we bring to this, which I think is what the moment calls for. Look, this country's in a lot of trouble. Joe Biden has weakened America at home and abroad. I think it's no time for on-the-job training. I want to project when I'm on that stage to the American people all of what came with the experience of serving as vice president, as a governor, and as a member of Congress, and my determination to bring that experience and that conservative record to bear on the challenges facing this country.
So you're going to be there. Trump, at least we're hearing, is not going to be there. What will it say about him if he doesn't even bother to show up to the first presidential primary debate?
Well, you know, I served alongside the president for a long time, and one thing I realize about him is it's not over till it's over. So,
right. So
I'm actually still hoping he shows up. You know, John. I mean, you know, to get on that plane and Trump Force One and head up and head out on that stage. I think. Look, I think every one of us that have qualified for that debate stage ought to be on the stage, be willing to square off. Answer the tough questions, and also draw a bright line contrast. You know, my differences with the former president go far beyond that tragic day in January 2.5 years ago. As I've said many times, I mean, now I see the president and others on the stage walking away from America's leadership in the world, our role as the arsenal of democracy. I see the president literally walking away from a commitment of fiscal responsibility and reform.
You mean Donald Trump?
I mean, President Trump's position on entitlement reform. Yeah, look, President Biden's policy on reforming entitlements in this country is insolvency. And the former president's position is identical to Joe Biden's position. They won't even talk about common sense reforms of Social Security and Medicare for younger Americans. And as you know, I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it. And I see not only the former president, but others on the stage trying to relegate the question of abortion to a states-only issue. And I want people to know my long record being a champion for the right to life, and that I'll champion the cause of life in every state house and in the Oval Office if I'm president of the United States. We're
almost out of time. Chris Christie said if he doesn't show up, he's running scared, hiding from the debate stage, a certified loser, a verified coward. We just heard from Governor Sununu saying he's chicken for not showing up. Do you agree with that? Verified coward or chicken?
Well, you know... You know, they talk a little different in New Jersey than they would do out in Indiana, John. So, look, I'll let other people make their judgment. But I hope he'd be there. I hope everybody that's qualified for the debate stage, and I'm grateful we did, is on that stage. And, you know, let's talk about the challenges facing the American people, and let's talk about what each of us brings to meet that moment, because we have got to come together and make it clear that Joe Biden must never be reelected president of the United States, and we have a better future for the American people.
All right, former Vice President Mike Pence, thank you for joining us.